have invited me. Thank you for inviting me to this platform of various kinds of stakeholders relating to agriculture. Now, agriculture is a vast subject, and there are many problems, many stakeholders in agriculture. Here, today, I would like to highlight 4 issues: labor shortage in agriculture, solutions to agriculture crisis, farm machinery, and green jobs. But before I start, I should introduce myself. My name is Uma Shankari. I completed my PhD in sociology from Delhi University in 1983. My PhD was not anyway related to agriculture. When I took up agriculture, I had no idea, previous background in agriculture. I went to live in a village in Andhra Pradesh near Tirupati with my husband and his family from 1985 onwards. We wanted to pursue social movements work. With background in sociology, we were both very much engaged with what was happening in our society. We wanted to contribute to social upliftment and all that. But once we went to the village, we were engaged in farming in our family farm. So I have about 40 years of experience in supervising our family farm. We also took up farmers' issues, agriculture workers' issues, land rights for the landless people, human rights issues, and social issues like education, healthcare, afforestation, water bodies conservation, etc., etc. So we did many things while we were there. But nowadays I'm living in Hyderabad, but I continue to carry on cultivation. I keep visiting my village once a month or once in 2 months, and I am very much on the job. So today, wherever you go in rural India, you will hear of worker shortage. Farmers are all the time complaining about non-availability of workers, and also how labor costs have increased like anything, and they're not able to afford such a high expensive labor cost. But first of all, people are not there at all. Workers are not there. And farming is not something you can do just by yourself. Even simplest jobs need at least more than one person. Say you take simple, something like, I will give you an example. Like uh, if, during, I grow groundnut. Okay. And the groundnut, when it is harvested, it has to be dried immediately for about 3-4 days under the sun. But that is also the monsoon season, and rains can come anytime. So everybody is doing drying their groundnut. And if the rain is about to come, then I need at least 3 people, somebody to take out the groundnut and put it in the bag, and then somebody to hold the bag, and so on. So at least 2 to 3 people are needed. At that time, everybody is doing the same job. So agriculture work is essentially seasonal. It means that it doesn't mean that people are hanging around not having work. So what is happening is, because of the labor shortage, farmers are leaving lands fallow. For instance, I have 10 acres, but I farm only 1 to 2 acres because workers are not available. Non-availability of workers has also led to higher labor cost in cultivation, which most farmers cannot afford. So farmers are turning to low labor requiring perennial crops such as fruit orchards, woodlots for industries, etc. They are also migrating to city in search of alternative employment. So I would like to ask here, is there really surplus labor in rural areas? Economists and administrators talk a lot about surplus labor in rural areas, and they're busy enhancing employment in urban areas, especially in manufacturing and construction. Young people have migrated to urban areas where the wages are slightly higher, and there are more opportunities for educated, unemployed youth, maybe. But we are not able to create as many jobs for them. That is why even for a small constable job or an attendant job, there are lakhs of people, including some PhDs, who will be applying for them. 44% of migrants reported that their incomes actually have not increased, although they've gone to the city in search of employment. So, as I was saying, is there surplus in agriculture? Agriculture is seasonal, and when it rains, nobody can do any work anyway. And as I described, even the simplest jobs need more than one hand. Even family labor is often not available because today children are going to school or they are in the city getting educated, and even the wife follows the children. The farmer is generally running around with his motorbike and cell phone, trying to get various things done, feeling frustrated and helpless. This is a very typical scenario if you go to any village in India today. It doesn't mean that they are idle. When agriculture work is seasonal, it doesn't mean that they have no work. They attend to personal work like house repairs, family and social obligations, marriages, funerals, compulsions of education, health care, and so on. Going away to the city means that they cannot attend to these personal works. So, what is the solution? Precisely to uh, create employment program in the rural areas instead of driving the youth to cities. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act and program was created. But still, it has not stopped youth from migrating to the cities. And why? Because urban wages are higher, no employment opportunities in rural areas. So Narega has become a last resort program, and it is not a routine employment program. In my village, only women and old people work in Narega program. So what is the solution? Why are people leaving agriculture and running away to cities? Poor incomes, year-on-year losses, uncertainty of natural factors like drought, floods, all kinds of problems, pest attacks, market failures. So, caught between natural disasters and market failures, between losses and indebtedness, farmers just want to leave agriculture. So, what can be the solution? The farmers' movement in India have been asking for a legally guaranteed MSP, minimum support price, for all the crops with higher returns to agriculture, higher wages while calculating hired and family labor. Secondly, today milk and meat have become very important source of income for farmers. So a minimum support price for milk and allowing cattle and other livestock trade without restrictions, promoting organic farming and a circular economy, waste to wealth, back to waste, would go a long way to enhance incomes. For, next, another aspect is increasingly women are managing farms. They always managed farms, but they were never recognized as farmers. Today, there is a demand that they should be recognized as farmers and trained and collectivized into farmers producer organizations. Most importantly, we need to create non agriculture employment where people are living. That is in rural areas. There is no point driving them away to cities. We need to create food processing units, renew traditional occupations with modern technology inputs, generate green jobs in forestry, water management, pollution management, recycling, reuse jobs, jobs in education and healthcare, along with promoting an ecosystem of services like banking, training in the last mile repairs and maintenance. This is very important. Last mile repairs and maintenance is servicing is not available easily. You will often find that in rural schools, computers are just lying idle because there was a small repair problem, but nobody is there to repair. TVs in homes often just go out of the thing because you have to carry the TV all the way to some town nearby to get it repaired. So repairs and last mile repairs and maintenance is an extremely important thing where a lot of employment can be generated in rural areas. Now I would like to talk about small farm machinery. One often hears of mechanization in agriculture. Mechanization actually has become a vicious cycle instead of a virtuous cycle. How? Labor shortage leads to low labor requiring crops, which in turn leads to workers going away to cities, which in turn creates more labor shortage. Secondly, are there really suitable, affordable machines? I'm sorry to say no. What's wrong with the existing farm machinery, you may ask? Tractors, harvesters, deweeders, etc. They are meant for larger farms developed in the Western countries, and the farmers in India, majority of them are just 2 to 5 acre farmers, and they've had to adapt to them rather than having their own tools and implements. All this farm machinery is completely unaffordable for small farmers. And as you know, even a tractor would cost 3 to 7 lakhs. And small farmers cannot afford to keep it in their own place. So a hiring model has come into existence everywhere in rural areas. But then what happens is that we have to wait endlessly for the tractor to be free, or the harvesters to be free, or the planter to be free. So it causes dependence and delays. So the goal for farm machinery should be that 2 to 5 acre farmer should be completely self-sufficient and should have all the tools and implements he needs in his own home. I'm posing this as a challenge to the people who are into developing farm machinery. We need to develop small farm machines designed and operable for self-cultivating farmer, including women farmers. This is needed in land preparation, plowing, planting, weeding, spraying, and harvesting, and post-harvesting processes also. So most importantly, these farm machinery should be affordable, should be low cost, plus with, as I said before, last mile servicing and maintenance facilities. They should preferably run on solar energy backed with stored rechargeable batteries. Otherwise, again, dependence on fossil fuels and electricity is becomes it is a big deterrent, because petrol, diesel costs have increased like anything, and again they have become unaffordable. So farm machinery should be preferably be run on solar energy backed with stored or rechargeable batteries. They should be tested continuously with a feedback loop with farmers and fabricators. Machine fabrication and testing facilities can be an important non-farm industry in rural areas. Farm to factory to farm should be the model should be the system. Right now, it is factory to farm. This won't work. We need continuous feedback loop between farmers and fabricators and machine R&D people, facilities. Training people in non-farm occupations with a decent stipend and internship will go a long way to, creating more jobs. Coming to green jobs, what can be the green jobs in rural areas? Forestry, tree plantations, pasture rejuvenation, water bodies management are obvious solutions. They should be funded from panchayat funds. Traditional occupations have largely been green jobs and they should be encouraged and renewed with upgrading technologies and ecosystem facilities like banking, loans, etc. Recycling, reuse, waste management can be another sector for green jobs. As I said before, last mile servicing, repairs and maintenance can also be considered green jobs. Service jobs in healthcare and trainings in various sectors can also be green jobs. Soft skills training like reading, writing, library, maintaining libraries, computer-based skills, telephone-based skills can also be another source of green jobs. So I'm coming now to the last slide. Who should do all these things? Government? Well, government can only do some things. And that is a very important job of the government. And we must demand that rural employment program should be designed for rural areas wherever people are living, not drive them to cities. That is a very important demand we should all do. An active citizenry is very important for not only criticizing the government, but also to take up constructive work. Gandhiji always combined Sangharsh with Nirman and Seva. The system should be a law-making as well as an executive body capable of taking decisions for the area under its jurisdiction and not just a fund disbursing body. Today, people don't attend panchayat meetings because they don't have any decision making powers. The panchayat leaders also don't have any decision making powers. Most of the funds are already tied or designated under specific heads, so they don't really have any decision making power as to what is good for the panchayat and what they should be doing. And with climate disasters facing us, restoration of agroecology is a duty of every citizen, and environment sustainability is a necessity rather than a fringe benefit. Thank you for listening to me, and I look forward to interaction with Madam Rajni Jain. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the detailed and interesting presentation. Now I will take up some questions. Okay. Okay. First question is, what are some innovative technologies currently available that can help reduce labor shortages on farms?
Well, I actually wish that labor shortage should not be there. But as I said, right now, whatever farm machinery is available, whether it is, say, even small D-weeders, they're all quite unaffordable. They cost at least 20,000 to 25 upwards. And they also run on petrol and petroleum, and either diesel or petrol. And this won't do, we need to, as I said, we need to have, right now, in fact, we are importing much of this small farm machinery from China. We should actually be making them in our own country, and we should have a program designed to, as I said, this continuous feedback loop with farmers, testing the machinery on the field and getting it all. So nowadays, drones and such things are being touted as very important, labor saving machinery and all that. They do save labor. But then what will the labor do and what will the farmers do when they need the labor? We need work. We should not see workers as either as, a wrong thing. We have to design employment for workers where they are living in situ, not drive them to cities. This is what I was trying to make in my speech.
And second, mm, uh, yeah, okay. Second question, how can automation and robotics be integrated into small farms without overwhelming them financially?
I know very little about robotics, madam. So I guess
Okay, no problem.
it is possible that, but people who design such systems should keep in mind how much the farmers can afford and how it can actually generate employment in rural areas. Today, we need to generate employment in rural areas so that they don't go away to cities. So if again, robotics again drives people from agriculture and they all go and crowd in cities, what is the point?
Okay. And what are the most effective ways to attract and retain skilled labor in the agricultural sector?
Well, higher wages to start with, because the wages in rural areas across the board are lower than city wages, urban wages. That is why they are all going away. And then there is also uncertainty in agriculture. See, natural disasters limit your production, then market failures happen, so the expected income does not come. So some kind of certainty of assured income, and that is why an assured, guaranteed, legally guaranteed minimum support price would be a very good thing for agriculture, so that people can retain people. And then skilling, you need to have trainings in non-farm occupations in rural areas. For that, you need to have training facilities in rural areas, not in the cities, in rural areas, so that they can continue to work in agriculture as well as get training in other kind of skills, whether it is machinery, whether it is digital, robotics and such other sectors. They should be able to stay in rural areas and get trained. This is what I would sort of imagine.
Okay. And what kind of financial or policy support is most beneficial for small scale farmers looking to expand or improve their operations?
Yeah, well, loans are most important, and loans at a much concessional rate should be given. Actually, this on the loans, there is a very big debate. you see, when people are starting to improve their farms and all that, many times things don't succeed. So, in a place like I've heard, I mean, I don't know exactly what happens, but in a place like Japan, most startup loans are waived. I mean, they are not even taken back because they think that only 10% of 100 startups will actually succeed. So 90% of loans are, just waived. So that kind of easy loans, so that uh, financially they're not burdened. Or we should have an assured kind of stipend or internship in rural areas, not again, some great 500 companies as government has announced. That is also good. I'm not saying that is wrong or bad, but we need for these people who want to get trained to be getting a stipend or internship in rural areas itself. And these training facilities should be located in rural areas.
Okay. And how can small farms leverage digital tools and platforms to enhance productivity and market access?
Yeah, some digital things like, moisture sensors and even drones and all that may be individually quite useful. But I don't have much familiarity because we live in a place where these things have not yet become common, and therefore I don't know exactly how they really function. But even before we got into all these digital things, say you will find that in many schools the computers are lying idle because there's a small repair, and nobody is there to attend to that repair. If you want to attend to the repair, that whole system has to be taken to some far off town or city, and you have to find the right person who will repair it and that sort of thing. So many times TVs in our homes, in rural homes, will be lying idle because there is a small repair problem there. So, last mile servicing, repairs, maintenance is a very important employment generation source, in my opinion, and I really think that it should be attended to. Robotics or digital technology, whatever technology you bring, people should be trained to attend to repairs and maintenance.
And what role do cooperatives and farmer networks play in supporting small farms?
Well, certainly farmers producer companies, which have sort of recently emerged, has a lot of promise, and it should be. See, I would like to draw parallel with the women's thrift societies. You know what we call DOCRA program. DOCRA program has succeeded everywhere in this country because they have collectivized the farmers, women, into small groups. Similarly, farmers should be collectivized into small groups, not big cooperatives. Big cooperatives, nobody knows what is happening upstairs, who is taking the decisions, what decisions are being taken, nothing. We need small farmers, producer cooperatives or companies, let's say some 10 to 15 people who can manage their own farms, market their own produce, and solve each other's problems. Like, they can buy inputs on a larger scale, they can sell together in a larger scale, and so on. So, farmers, producer cooperatives, companies I think is a very important moment, and they should be there. See, just as Dhokra movement has almost involved every woman in rural areas, similarly, farmers producer company should involve every farmer, in my opinion, so that they all belong to a uh, uh, see, if you belong to a group, your bargaining position is stronger rather than being an individual farmer at the mercy of traders and at the mercy of big companies and so on.
Okay. Now, some questions related to green jobs. How can the agriculture sector create more green jobs that contribute to sustainable farming practices?
Well, the government has taken up schemes on organic farming, and that is very welcome. Almost both central and state governments are now aware of this. But, there should be more awareness. And as I said, the allied jobs, it is not just organic farming in agriculture. You need forests, you need water bodies, you need pastures. Today, uh, income from cattle and milk has become more than even income from crops. So we need to have good pastures. Similarly, for meat industry also, you need wastelands. You need large wastelands. The waste to wealth. We used to have, traditionally, we used to have this circular economy. Nothing was thrown, everything was recycled. So that kind of recycling mindset and designing programs with recycling and reuse should become part of our employment programs. And that is how we can create green jobs. But again, I will never stop emphasizing the last mile thing also. You may bring the greatest modern technology, but if there is no training and skill development in the last mile repair and maintenance, which can be actually considered as a green job because it will not be too much polluting, it will not be too much, it will not take up big space like factories and all that. So, and we need them. So that kind of thing also. And similarly, soft skills like, attending to older people, health facilities, managing health facilities, managing educational programs. All these are also kind of green jobs which should be promoted.
Okay. And what are some examples of green job roles in agriculture that are gaining popularity?
Certainly, organic farming is getting popular. And now and then, you also hear people taking initiatives in forestry. We ourselves, in our own village, we took up an afforestation program and not only taking up an afforestation but protecting even the existing forest. The forest department is supposed to do it, but unless people are also involved, if the forest department is doing its job on one hand of protecting forests, but if people are doing sand mining and cutting the trees and this and that, it won't do. So people have to be engaged in and actively, proactively engaged in protecting their environment. And this needs both awareness programs and training also. Skill development is also necessary. How to go about this protection and how to enhance the environmental values. This is also important. We need more learning and training.
Okay. And how can training and education programs be designed to prepare workers for green jobs in farming?
Education programs, Well, short-term programs, even, 3 to 6 months programs of a training in necessary skills, whatever program you want to take up, whether it is afforestation or healthcare. You need, short-term programs like 3 to 6 months programs, and then putting them on pilot projects, monitoring how they are performing, and then getting a feedback and retraining or improvising any problems which they face. All that is very necessary, and all these are doable. It is just a matter of political will and people's will. If people demand these services, political will also will come. So we need to have an active citizenry as well as an active, proactive government and political will to do these things.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, Mrs. Uma, I don't see any more questions. So
Thank
now we
you.
have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for the detailed presentation and answering all the questions. And I also like to thank my editorial team for sharing the questions. The meeting will now be closed.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you very much
You're
for
most
inviting
welcome,
me.
madam. You're
Okay.
most welcome. Thank you. Thank you.